Good afternoon, everyone. We're going to get started with our program. Hopefully all of you got enough to eat and desserts. There's plenty up there, so go ahead and grab some. Take some back to the office with you. Take some of that fruit. It's pretty good. Welcome, everyone. My name is Nancy Goins. I am the Executive Director of the Forest Park Chamber of Commerce, and it is finally spring, thankfully, and feels like it's spring. So I think we're pretty, I still have snowmen up in my house, though. I'm sorry. I really do. So I'm warding it all away. I'd like to tell you that some news. We do have a new city manager that started this month at the city of Forest Park. He started on April 1st, was his first day. He was not able to be here today, but we are working on plans to have a chamber meet and greet with him, and keep an eye out on your emails and things so that we can welcome him. We were looking the first week and maybe the second week, I think it would be in May, but we need to finalize things with his schedule and let him get his feet wet a little bit. So his name is Donnie Jones, and he is so welcome him if we can. We've had the same city manager in Forest Park for a long time, and he's got probably feels like he's walking into a new place, but we would love to have new blood here, and I think it's going to be great. So couple of things, quick chamber things that we have coming up. On May 15th, we have the RCP meeting. It's on marketing alignment, sales and marketing. Forget marketing alignment. Now it's sales and marketing combinement is what you need to work on. And we have a speaker from Paycor coming to do that, and that is at Raffles from 11 to 1 on May 15th. We have our annual golf tune-up on June 11th scheduled. The details aren't finalized for that, but just mark your calendar for that day that will be our chamber meeting, and we're trying to figure out a couple fun things for that. And then on June 26th, we are joining up with Sharonville, Blue Ash, Greater Hamilton Chamber, and Evendale Chamber at Dave & Buster's for a happy hour after hours from 5 to 7 at Dave & Buster's on June 26th. And our famous annual golf outing is July 17th. So we are getting all those details finalized as well on some, the course and the food and all that fun stuff, but it will be July 17th. So it's a Wednesday. You don't have to be a good golfer. You don't even have to like golf. Come out and enjoy the day. It's a great day. We have lots of fun prizes, and it's a really nice outing at Wynwood. So consider that if you would. And then also on, I think May 1st, we've received invitation, all the RCP members of chambers. The Evendale Chamber is having a free happy hour at Gorman Heritage Farm, and I think they've got the Cincinnati Brew Bus coming, but they wanted to extend an invitation to everyone. So we'll put that on the calendar as well when they send out their details. So all of those days, lots of fun and exciting things going on here, and I know we've got some great things, and we're working on the meet and greet to be at Spring Hill Suites. I see them here that their renovations are complete, so ready to open the pool. We were kind of hoping the pool would be open when we had something fun, but it's a little chilly still. So, but today I'm going to introduce Jermaine Hill. He is our Assistant Fire Chief extraordinaire, city volunteer extraordinaire. He runs around here and does tons of stuff for us, so he is going to introduce our speaker for today. So thank you very much.
Hey, good afternoon. All right, so how are your bellies? Everybody's full, everybody's feeling good, you're energized, all right, ready to learn? All right, it gives me a great pleasure to introduce William Black. He's our training captain. He's been with our fire department for over 10 years. He's a member of the USAR team, and he's just a great guy to be around, very knowledgeable. He's one of those first to help, last to stop, and he's going to give you a crash course on CPR and some tips on first aid. And if you'd like to take the full course, I have my business cards at the table. I believe Bill brought his cards with him. Please contact us. We'll take care of you guys, and we're the cheapest in the region, and I believe the best in the region. And you know how this relates to you guys. We know the stats that are out there. The faster that you guys recognize an emergency, typically the better for the patient, the better the outcome. And do we have anybody that's in charge of safety or first aid or CPR equipment at their jobs? Please, please, please check your AEDs if you have them. Check your first aid kits. Ask those questions because you want to make sure that there's somebody there all the time that knows what to do in the event that something happens. There's nothing worse than everybody standing around shrugging their shoulders and then calling 911. You call 911. Of course, the fire departments, we do our best to get there expeditiously, but Forest Park, we have 2 ambulances. We get a ton of calls. So if you're in Forest Park and it's one of those days where both of our ambulances are out, you know, you'll get a truck come, but that next ambulance may be coming from Springfield Township. It may be coming from Colerain, may be coming from Springdale. So it's very important that we are able to help ourselves until the professionals get there. All right? So without further ado, Mr. Captain William Black.
Thanks, Chief. So I'm going to pass out some papers here. It's just something you can follow along with the CPR and AED. I know we're short on time here, so we'll try to get through as much as possible. Feel free to keep these. If you don't want them, just leave them on the table and I'll pick them up later. So I like videos. Kind of gets it out there a little bit quicker, easier for people to see. So we're going to kind of go over a few different things. So what Chief Hill asked me to speak to you guys about today is AEDs, CPR, and the Heimlich maneuver. So each one of so we use ASHI for our first aid and safety. And so if you guys contact us, that's who we'll be using this program. It's very in-depth. Goes into each individual section, kind of breaks it down. And so we're going to do a little bit of that today. Like I said, we don't have enough time to do the whole program. So we're just going to cover a few of those topics. With that, let's hope this works. So like Chief said, it's very important to act quick.
What's the address of the emergency? Is he breathing?
No, he's not breathing. Oh.
Go ahead and set your phone down, put me on speaker. Okay, let's get him flat on his back. I'm going to tell you how to do CPR. Okay, I'm going to put one hand on top of the other. We're going to pump the chest hard and fast, at least 2 times per second at 2 inches deep. We're going to
Setting. Immediate CPR with
possible cardiac arrest. Okay, let's get him flat on his back. I'm going to tell you how to do CPR. Okay, I want you to put one hand on top of the other. We're going to pump the chest hard and fast, at least 2 times per second at 2 inches deep. We're going to do 600 times, so jump up and take over.
Listen to the pace that I want you to do. It's 1, 2, 3. Dispatch. LFA Command 2 en route. I'm mobile and nearby. ETA 1 minute.
cardiac arrest is the loss of the heart's ability to pump blood through the body. The most dramatic occurrence, sudden cardiac arrest, can happen anywhere with little or no warning. Victims unexpectedly collapse. Breathing stops. Sudden cardiac arrest occurs when the normal electrical impulses in the heart suddenly become disorganized. Normal mechanical contraction of the heart muscle is lost, and a chaotic quivering condition known as ventricular fibrillation can occur. Blood flow to the body, along with the oxygen it carries, abruptly stops. Within minutes, brain cell death starts to occur from the lack of oxygen.
Can you?
Okay, thank you.
Sir, are you okay?
Confirmed cardiac arrest.
Cardiopulmonary resuscitation, or CPR, is the immediate treatment for a suspected cardiac arrest. CPR can restore limited oxygen to the brain and other vital organs through a combination of chest compressions and rescue breaths. However, CPR alone is not enough.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
The most effective way to end fibrillation is defibrillation, using a defibrillator and electrode pads adhered to the chest. A controlled electrical shock is sent through the heart to stop ventricular fibrillation, allowing the heart's normal electrical activity to return and restore the normal pumping action of the heart. Successful defibrillation is highly dependent on how quickly a shock can be delivered. For each minute in cardiac arrest, the chance of surviving goes down by about 10%. After as few as 10 minutes, survival is unlikely. An automated external defibrillator, or AED, is a portable, computerized device that is simple to operate. The use of AEDs by emergency responders and other healthcare personnel allows defibrillation to occur much earlier than before. Turning on an AED is as simple as pushing a power button. Once on, an AED provides voice instructions to guide an operator through its use.
Upon pass, the patient's bare chest.
An AED automatically analyzes the heart rhythm to determine if a shock is needed.
Stay clear of patient. Analyze it.
If a shock is advised by the AED,
Shock advised.
Everyone clear?
the operator clears the person and pushes a button to deliver the shock.
Shock delivered. Begin.
Immediate high-quality CPR and early defibrillation with an AED can double or even triple the likelihood for survival. Most cardiac arrests occur outside of a hospital. Most of those occur in the home. The chain of survival is often used to describe the best approach for treating cardiac arrest. Each link in the chain is essential for a person to survive. If a single link is weak or missing, the chances for survival are greatly reduced. The greatest chance for survival exists when all the links are strong. The chain of survival for cardiac arrests outside of a hospital consists of 5 interdependent links. Early recognition of cardiac arrest and prompt activation of the emergency response protocol for the setting. Immediate CPR with high-quality chest compressions. Rapid defibrillation or electrical shock to the heart. Effective basic and advanced EMS care and transport, and effective cardiac arrest care at a hospital. Cardiac arrest inside a hospital usually occurs when a known medical condition worsens. The chain of survival inside a hospital reflects how resuscitation fits into the overall picture of medicine.
All right, we'll stop right there. So the email that Chief Hill had sent you guys out about the class was, it has some stats in there. I don't know if you guys read those or not, but approximately 5% of all sudden cardiac arrests each year occur at the work place of work. Every 7 seconds, someone is hurt on the job. Choking, slipping, falls, strokes, and other accidents or medical emergency can happen at work. What would you do, or what would your coworkers do for you So this is kind of why we put this together. So I guess I have some questions. How many people have actually had their hands on an AED or know how to operate them? Not many. So they're pretty self-explanatory on how they work. And a lot of people, I think, have a fear that they're going to shock somebody when it's not needed. But it will not let you do that. So it analyzes it, it does everything. It tells you whether it's a shockable rhythm or not. So you don't have to be scared that you're going to shock somebody that's not going to be shocked. Now we carry a life pack, which we can actually go ahead and bypass all that, and we can actually do the shock. Sometimes, no, I wouldn't say when it's not necessary, but when the machine says it's not necessary, but we know that it needs to happen. So with the AEDs, we'll just go over it real quick. We have one back here. I don't know if in your place of business, it's something that you might want to do, but this one here is connected into a call center. So when somebody opens up that door on the front of the AED, it sets off to the alarm company to let somebody know. So it's hard to see on these, but the pads, they have where they're supposed to go on here. So you just need to make sure you take their clothes off and then put them in the right spots. And then it walks you through the process. It'll tell you what to do. While it's analyzing, you can still go ahead and start CPR. So the problem with CPR is that there's a few things that can go wrong. You can either not press down far enough to compress the heart to push the blood out, or you can push too far and not let it come back up, which then allows it to fill back up. So it's very important. A lot of people, when they start doing CPR, they're either way too fast or not deep enough or way too slow. So the new guidelines, and we have them on these, and you guys can come up here in a little bit and look at them, but they have visual cues on here that will allow you to see whether you're going too fast, too slow, and when it's in the green. This one has it on the chest here, and this one is right down here. But as you're doing CPR, these will allow you and basically give you immediate feedback of whether you're doing the CPR right or not. And then this one actually will click when it starts. But you can see the light. It's kind of hard to do, but you can see the light as it changes. So it shows you exactly whether you're going deep enough, whether you're going too fast, too slow, whether you need to speed up or slow down. So a lot of people, I think, steer clear of helping somebody in need of help with CPR because the way we were taught in the old days was you had to give mouth to mouth. So now there's a lot of research out there that shows that just CPR alone, chest compressions, is enough to help somebody until we get there. So a lot of people are kind of in that mindset that you have to do mouth to mouth. If you have a pocket protector or something and you want to do that, that's fine, but just doing straight chest compressions is enough. Now, the paper I handed out to you is for if you're going to do both. So it's 30 and 2 for that. So it just depends on what you're comfortable, what your level of comfort is, and what you need to do. Any questions? Anything I can answer? Anytime, just shout out something if you have any questions. No? Yep.
So if we're looking to procure an AED, will you help us select? I mean, I went on
Yeah.
and I couldn't discern one from the other.
Yeah, you can contact us and we can steer you in the right direction of which one it is and what you guys need. But like I said, and like Chief Hill was saying, that you need to have this stuff in your workplace. We know it's a big expense, but like he said, it could be a little while before we get there. So if you can do something to help that person or, help them survive by just doing little things until we get there, I mean, everything helps.
There's some that you can keep like in your car too.
I'm sure you can.
Now they have them, but you can even.
Yeah, they're in a bag just like this. Yeah, we carry them on our trucks because we don't have enough of the life packs, but it's just got a battery and it just needs to be changed out, but it'll tell you like when you turn it on ours it says whether it's charged, how much battery's left, so it's just something, just like everything else, it's something that has a battery that needs to be checked, so if you're going to keep it in your car, you don't want to take it out that time and then not be serviced or ready. Also, the pads do expire, so there'll be an expiration date on the pads that you need to take out and change out. So, does anybody want to come up real quick and kind of do this, or you want to wait? Go ahead.
My husband had a triple heart bypass and they put something in, like both a pacemaker and something to shock.
A defibrillator?
So you wouldn't do this. Would you do this on him?
Yeah, sometimes those stop working. But if his is working and it's providing what he needs, then no, we wouldn't necessarily add more shocks to what he's already getting.
Okay, but how would somebody, like if he went down, I should do CPR?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, and then checking for a pulse, and then seeing whether if he's out, he won't be able to tell you. But a lot of times they can tell it's happening before the big event happens, and they'll tell you, like, I'm being shocked. So we get calls all the time that says, hey, you know, they have a pacemaker or a defibrillator, and it's actually shocked them, trying to get them back in the right rhythm.
Is that what that senses though, when it's sensing, when it's?
This is sensing the rhythm. So these only shock when that rhythm is present, and it's usually VFib. So this will read, and it'll say shock advised. And you want to stop doing CPR, stop doing what you're doing, clear everybody, and then on this one it's the red button. You just push, and I don't know if this one has to be held down or not. Some of them you have to hold down until it actually gives a shock, but you need to make sure that nobody's touching the patient when that shocks, because it can kind of travel through because it is electricity. Anybody else? All right, we can do that here in a minute. The next thing was the Heimlich. This is our friend here. So I have a video. I don't know how much time we got left. Yeah, we're running short, so we won't show the video. So anyway, this is our practice victim. So you can see she has something in her mouth. All right. So the point that you want to feel for is the belly button. All right. So you want to make a fist, usually with your knuckle, and you want to place that above the belly button. With the other hand, you just want to kind of go over top of your other one. And when you're doing this, it's an in and up movement. If this works, it'll be great. Yep. So it's going to shoot that person out. I would say more than half the time, it's not going to happen on the first try. So you're going to have to keep going and keep going and keep going. So as long as they're conscious and they're coughing, trying to expel that, keep going. If they get to a point where they collapse and they're not able to stand up and you can't hold them up anymore, that's when you want to lay them down. And then we switch to chest compressions, just like CPR. All right, so you're just going to find the middle of their sternum, the breastbone, and you're going to switch over to chest compressions, and that will also push air through the lungs and try to expel that. So, has anybody ever done the Heimlich? Go ahead.
Do you like turn the head?
If you have somebody there, I mean, you can, but it just depends on.
Didn't know if that like obstructed the force down coming up to come out.
Yeah, you could try to hold their head over, but it depends. It might kind of come back or not, depending on how tense they are.
If you push it up or right down.
You're not going to be able to as you're, if you're there by yourself.
Like as far as trying to position the head, is it better to get it on the side if you can?
Yeah, it would be better in case it.
comes out.
Yeah, in case it starts to expel, then you want. Also, they say before you actually start, if somebody's down, make sure you open their mouth and look, listen, feel, to see if they're breathing, because that'll kind of prompt you to, because somebody can't have a pulse without breathing. So, especially infants and young children. Yes, ma'am.
So, I know, it just seems like the first natural reaction would want to hit somebody on the back.
Slaps on the back.
Is that not good, or?
For children, they do recommend that, but for adults, they do not. I guess there's some research out there that says that if you're slapping them on the back, it could cause it to go down further, because as you hit them, they might kind of suck in and it might go down further. But with children, you start with kind of thrust, and then you flip them over to their back, kind of hang them upside down, and that's when you give them the back slaps, and then flip them over and kind of rotate back and forth. But with adults, they say not to. Another technique, they said you can do it on yourself. Same way, you want to kind of put your thumb here, and just jam into your stomach and in and upward, and that works. The other way is on the back of a chair. So if you're at home by yourself and you can't do it, you can kind of get over top of the chair, make sure it's not going to flip on you, so make sure you're kind of leaning towards the front. And you want to put it right in your abdomen and lean over and try to force that up and keep doing it until hopefully you get everything out. So kind of the progression with this is the severity of the obstruction and what they need to do. So if they're just coughing and they can still get air, just kind of coach them to keep coughing, try to get it out on their own. If they can't do it, the universal sign is, this, but a lot of people don't remember that, so they're just kind of pointing that way. That's when you need to actually go ahead and do the Heimlich. And like I said, you want to find the belly button, hand just above it in the middle, and it's with your thumb here, kind of creates a pressure point. Wrap it in and up, and as you're going, and like I said, keep going until it comes out. Anybody? Anything? Questions? So if you guys want to come up here and try, the stuff's here. If we want to watch another video, I got some more videos. I can do I can run the choking one as we go.
And one of the things that we talked about was that the fire department does training for workplaces. And you guys do that for Forest Park people, correct?
Yep.
And we can...
So just give us a call, and they'll set up a class. And we usually like to have a few more numbers than 1 or 2, but if 1 or 2 is all you have, then we'll do it for 1 or 2. But we've done 1 up to probably 15, 20 people. It just takes time. What I did here is like just the surface area of it. I think the class regular is 4 to 6 hours by the time if you want to do everything. And we do, the last thing we could kind of talk about was the first aid and the myth of kind of like the study and research shows that tourniquets, so everybody used to be scared to use tourniquets because they said, oh, as soon as you put a tourniquet on somebody, they're going to lose that limb. And that's not true anymore. So they're actually training us to use that early. So if we think that we aren't going to be able to stop that bleeding, we're supposed to put a tourniquet on right away. And it's a tight tourniquet, and it's the military grade tourniquets are what we're carrying now. And it might be something that you guys, if you're in some kind of business that has any kind of chance of somebody severing their arm, leg, hurting themselves really bad, it might be something that you look at. I know the schools are working on a grant right now, and they're going to have trauma kits with the tourniquets in all the schools. And it's just kind of a go-to thing now that it used to be the very last thing that we tried to stop bleeding, and now if it's something that we see a lot of bleeding, that we're going to put that on first. So we do the first aid stuff also with the CPR. It's kind of, we can do a whole package, or we can just do whatever you guys need from us.
If somebody does get cut, though, besides tourniquet, direct pressure is...
Direct pressure, elevated up. And then, we're always taught if you wrap it and it's still bleeding through, don't take the wrap off. Just add more, wrap it tighter.
Anybody else have any good questions? Yeah.
Once you put a tourniquet on, do you release it at all, or to...
No, the hospital will. Yeah. The problem is, as they say, because it starts, it stops bleeding. So as soon as you take that off, it's going to do it again. So it used to be the thought that once we got there, say somebody else put it on, we would kind of loosen it up, kind of look at it and see. But they've now said leave it on until it gets to the hospital, and that way, if you take it off and you can't get it back on or tighten it up again, then the surgeons and doctors can kind of fix everything real quick.
Choking can occur when a solid object, such as a piece of food or a small object, enters a narrowed part of the airway and becomes stuck. On inhalation, the object can be drawn tighter into the airway, and block air from entering the lungs. A forceful thrust beneath the ribs and up into the diaphragm can pressurize the air in the chest and pop an obstruction out of the airway. Compression of the chest over the breastbone can also create enough pressure to expel an object. To provide the appropriate care, you must first be able to recognize the difference between a mild blockage and a severe blockage. With a mild blockage, a person can speak, cough, or gag. This type of blockage is typically cleared naturally through forceful coughing. Allow someone with a mild blockage to try and resolve the problem on his own. Stay close and be ready to take action if things worsen.
Three-day weekend coming up, you have big plans?
Yeah, we're thinking about heading to Lake for a little R&R. Hey, Malcolm, what about you?
Johnny, what's wrong? Why are you choking?
When a severe blockage occurs, a person cannot take in enough air to dislodge the object. Signs of severe obstruction include very little or no air exchange, the lack of sound, and the inability to speak or cough forcefully. A person without any air exchange requires your help to survive. The person may hold his hands to his throat while attempting to clear the obstruction. If you suspect someone is choking, ask, "Are you choking?" If the person nods yes, act quickly. Stand behind the person, reach around and locate the person's navel with your finger. Make a fist with your other hand and place the thumb side against the abdomen just above your finger and below the ribs. Grasp your fist with the other hand. Give a quick inward and upward thrust. Each thrust needs to be given with the intent of expelling the object. Repeat thrusts until the person can breathe normally. If the person becomes unresponsive, carefully lower her to the ground. If not already done, activate EMS. Begin CPR, starting with compressions. Look in the mouth for an object after each set of 30 compressions before giving rescue breaths. Remove any object if seen. When someone is clearly pregnant or obese, use chest thrusts instead of abdominal thrusts. Position yourself directly behind the person. Reach under the armpits and place the thumb side of your fist on the center of the chest. Grasp your fist with the other hand and thrust straight backward. If you are choking and alone, try pressing your abdomen quickly against a rigid surface, such as falling onto the back of a chair. If one is not available, attempt abdominal thrusts on yourself.
The primary assessment remains the same for a responsive person. Look for any immediate.
All right.
Should you call 911 after the trip?
Do what?
If you're
After?
by yourself and you're, what do you, like you're holding the phone?
So there's a lot of different things. Yes, you should call 911 because they'll actually read it as an open line. So we'll get dispatched to wherever that open line is. So you, even if you can't talk, as long as you have that open, they're going to try to talk to you and send us out there. Now, Hamilton County has a thing now where you can do it even for your cell phones. I forget the name of it. But you can actually put all your information in on the county's, our dispatcher's website, and it actually puts all your information, the cell phone number, and it tracks your cell phone, and it'll pinpoint exactly where you are. I can't think of the name of it right now. No. Start something.
It's with that kind of flush.
Yeah.
Break.
So it'll actually track, and so that would be another thing that if you didn't, you were out in your car or somewhere and you hit 911, you couldn't talk, you were choking, that they could actually pinpoint your location through your cell phone. And then it actually, in that system, you can put in like medical history, person to contact, all that stuff, but it's on a safe server. I say safe server out there that hopefully nobody has access to. But that is available too. But yes, definitely call. If you can call 911, even if you can't talk, they'll be able to kind of reverse look it up and find out your address and hopefully get us there. But especially with cell phones now, they can track that information. Anybody else? Anybody? That's kind.
Don't you want to do chest compression?
Thank you for that, Kevin.
So if anybody wants to practice, kind of put your hands on this stuff. We can go over the AED. Like I said, every AED is going to be a little bit different, but they all operate the same. They're going to have a shock button. They're going to have an on-off button. They're going to have voice activated, where they actually will walk you through the steps. And like I said, it'll say analyzing. So when you're doing chest compressions, if it says analyzing, you want to stop, let it analyze, and then it'll tell you whether shock's advised or not advised. If shock's advised, you hit the button. If not, you go back to doing CPR.
And for the baby, how you CPR the...
We usually use 2 fingers, yep. So you're right in the middle, and like I said, this has a kind of a light. You might be able to see this one, if I can do it right. So green is good, yellow is a little bit too fast, and then red's not good. So you can hear it clicking. That's the sound you want it to make. And like I said, it'll stay green when you're doing it right. So we just got these mannequins because, like I said, the new requirement is that it has to have some kind of visual effect for people that are learning, so they know not to go too fast, not to go too slow. Anybody else? Yep, go ahead.
We're going through a well-building certification process that requires us to not only have our emergency and first aid, but also our tornado safety, our emergency evacuation. You need to document and have processes. Can you help us with all that?
I believe there's stuff out there that.
Wait, we can help you. Is that something that's done with OSHA?
It's well building. It's the International Well Building Institute. It's actually becoming a global program. And part of it is safety and wellness.
Grab one of our business cards. Grab one of our business cards. They'll gladly help you through this issue.
Okay, they're very specific about
Yes.
what we need, and you can help.
Yes, yes.
Because I was up just looking at the variety of these out there and ladies, and already I need help.
Well, they all meet the standards, so you don't have to buy the Cadillac.
Right, that's what I want what you use.
Yeah, ours is a little higher end because actually ours has the capability of reading an EKG. So it actually has a screen that we can see what the heart rhythm is.
When you put one of those in a facility, then you put signage in other places to say.
Yeah, you need to have a sign up
where
above it
is,
and let
there,
people
like,
know.
in one place, and then a signs around saying it's located.
Yeah, or when you do your evacuation plans or your route, then you can have those on those. If you post those a couple different places throughout the business, somebody can go. But the main thing is educating your employees once you get the equipment. It's great that everybody gets it, but if you don't educate somebody, like I said, they're not going to want to use it.
Well, that's where you come in.
Absolutely, that's where we come in. Yeah, so it's just it's just the training and letting people know where it is and where they have them. And usually it's a pretty big sign. I don't know if ours has a sign on it, but I know it's on the outside of the door. But sometimes it's a little sign that sticks out from the wall a little bit, and it'll have it'll be a triangle, and it'll say AED, AED. You can put those there too.
Because I bought a couple first aid kits, but that's a whole other thing, like what should be in your first aid kit.
Yeah. It's going to depend on what your requirement is.
Yeah, and what your business is probably
Yeah.
too, right? I mean, what people come in to your business and do some things as a public facility, you have different things than if you're in a construction warehouse,
Sure, but again, I mean, certainly we don't allow any guns on our property, but the reality is out there that what you're talking about, if it's in schools, that's when you would need a gun shop, and that's when you would need an attorney.
It could be anywhere, yeah. I mean, it could.
Anywhere, so.
Yeah, you never know.
Yeah, X-Acto knives when we're cutting.
That's right.
Oh yeah, you could. I mean, those things are sharp. I mean, that's what. We saw one the other day that a business had that had the safety thing on it, but they were still keeping them out in the open. We're like, oh, You might want to put that kind of back somewhere else, somebody, because you never know what somebody's going to do when they come in. So whatever you can do to protect your employees and the people, your customers, and so. But like Chief said, we'll figure it out. Whether it's we have something to do, or we can point you in a direction to get the information to help you work through that process and train you in CPR, first aid.
Well, I just want to say you were amazingly quick to get to our facility for smoke alarms or anything. But putting that out there, faster than I could call and say, false alarm.
All right, so I'll be here for a few minutes if somebody wants to come up and kind of put your hands on it.
And Jermaine has cars on the way out, and if you need anything, let us know. We can try and hook you up with these guys and get you some training. Thank you very much.
Thanks for your time.